Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on the UKPHR re-registration process for practitioner registrants. My name is Zaira and I'm the Registration Services Manager here at UKPHR. And I'll introduce my colleague Anissa, who's also joined us for the webinar as well. Anissa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all well. My name's Anissa Ali, and I'm the Practitioner Registration Lead at UKPHR.
Great, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. We're just going to be talking about the re-registration process, the revised process since it was implemented in April 2025 this year. And the session will just cover the main requirements for re-registration and then talk about a little bit more of the forms of support available, such as the deferral and exemption support that is available for registrants if you're unable to complete your application in time. And then we'll also go into showing you the online application via the registrant portal and to show you what it looks like when you then start to complete your application with us. So hopefully this webinar will last around 45 minutes and there will also be some time for questions at the end as well. So please do pop any questions in the chat and then we'll pick these up at the end of the presentation. Okay. So, oh, someone's saying they can't hear anything. Just check my mic is working. Is everyone?
I can hear you okay, Zaira. If anybody else is struggling, somebody said that sound is fine here.
Okay. It might. Okay. Yeah, I can see that there are a couple of people that can hear. It might just be your mic. Just to double check. Okay, perfect. That's great. Everyone can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, the slides will also be shared as well at the end of the session with also the recording of the video. So yeah, we'll just go straight into it. Yeah, hopefully it'll work for you, Kate. We'll just go straight into the presentation. So for the 5-yearly re-registration, what essentially is re-registration? It's a process that is a bit more of a rigorous check than the annual renewal process. Many of you will have completed your annual renewal back in July this year, which includes a fitness to practice declaration form and the payment of fees. So the re-registration process is a bit more than the annual renewal process, and it is due every 5 years, and it requires a bit more information and evidence to submit to us at that point in time. And the real purpose behind re-registration is really just to ensure that you are continuing to meet your fitness to practice requirements as part of your registration with us, and then to also promote that improvement in the quality of public health practice as well. So that is the real purpose of re-registration, and it is also, yeah, due once every 5 years as well. To the next slide. In terms of the re-registration timeline, so UKPHR registrants are first contacted 6 months from their re-registration due date. So you would receive an automatic notice from our online system to let you know that your re-registration is due 6 months in advance. And then following on from that 6-month notice, you'll then get sent monthly reminders up until your re-registration is due or up until you've submitted the application to us. So the reminders will stop being sent once we've received that full and satisfactory application from you. And with the deadline for the online application, it is due before your re-registration due date. So as long as we received the full completed and satisfactory application, which also includes any clarification requests or any further information. As long as we receive that by your due date, then that is completely fine. That would essentially be your deadline for the application. If we haven't received your application by the due date, there is a 15 working day grace period. So if an application isn't received by that date, you do get the 15 working days a bit of extra time just to submit that application to us. And just to also point out here that your registration status will still remain active. So your registration status won't lapse, and you'll still be visible on the public register during that period. It is just after the 15 working day period, if we still haven't received your application, then the registrant status will then automatically lapse, and then you will be required to restore your registration with us and submit an online application. And then once approved, you'd then be required to submit the re-registration application that was due before your status lapsed. So you do get that little bit of extra time, but it is just so that once you've, if you haven't submitted it by the due date, try to get it in before the 15 working day grace period ends, just to avoid completing a restoration application and your status lapsing as well. So yes, so once we receive the application, everything's all good, it's all been checked. It then gets sent to the Registration Approvals Committee, who convene once a month. Hopefully everyone else can hear me on the call. I think a couple of people are having perfect. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, so once the team have, once we've checked out online application and it's satisfactory, it will then get taken to the Registration Approvals Committee, who convene once a month. And we do get a couple of questions where, depending on when we've received the registration application in the month, if it's taken to a Registration Approvals Committee meeting that is due after your re-registration is due, a lot of people tend to worry that it will affect their registration status, but just to be reassured, this won't affect your registration status. It will, you will still remain active on the register, and you know, you will still be able to submit your you will still remain active on the register, and then your registration status won't get affected as well. So it will get sent to the Registration Approvals Committee when it's next available. It's just so that there are cut-off dates for our registration approvals committees, and it just depends on when your application is received by us. But it really doesn't matter when it gets taken to whichever registration approvals committee, just to reassure you that your registration status won't get affected and you'll still be active as well. So yeah, and then once it's been taken to the approvals committee and it's been approved by the committee members, then you will appear active on the register and the RAC will have approved your re-registration application, and it will mean then that you'll be re-registered for a further 5 years. So you'll get an email to let you know that your registration your re-registration application has been approved, and your new re-registration due date, it will be included in the email as well. So that's just that confirmation and that last step at the end once it's all been approved by us. Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit in detail about the re-registration requirements now, now that we've gone over the timeline for re-registration. And many of you will have been aware that we did undertake that review of re-registration, of re-registration last year, and it was only just implemented this year. And there were a couple of changes that we made to the process as well. So we did undertake some consultation with our practitioner registrants just to get that feedback on their thoughts on the previous re-registration process and what they found difficult about it and what could be improved. And it was a very informative and very helpful review. So anyone that was part of that review, of those focus groups, thank you for your valuable feedback. It's helped us to develop this process further. And I'll just go into a bit more detail about what was previously required for each of the requirements and what we actually require now. So yeah, so for the appraisal, previously it was required that you need to submit a work-based appraisal that was completed within 12 months and countersigned by a registered specialist with either UKPHR, GMC or GDC. But what we found was that many practitioners were finding it difficult to achieve this requirement, specifically the counter signature requirement, mainly because many practitioners are working in organizations where they might not have access to a registered specialist, or also they don't have access to a registered specialist, and they're not able to achieve that requirement as well. In terms of, I saw a question pop up about the NMC. So at the moment, UKPHR has the Memorandum of Understanding with the GMC and GDC, which is why it was previously required for the appraisal to be countersigned by a registered specialist. So hopefully that helps to answer that question. And unfortunately, we didn't have that Memorandum of Understanding in place with the NMC, which is why it was just for GMC and GDC. So that was what was previously required. What we actually require now is a work-based appraisal completed within 12 months, and it to be signed off by either a line manager or a head of department. So it makes it a lot easier for practitioners to achieve this now. So they don't have to worry about contacting a registered specialist or approaching someone who might not know their work in detail. Whereas with the work-based appraisal that is signed off by your line manager, it'll be easier to obtain and easier to complete and then submit to us for your re-registration as well. So that is the key change for the appraisal that we've implemented as part of this review for practitioner registrants as well. If self-employed, if you are not part of an organization and you're self-employed, then instead of a work-based appraisal, it would be a completed reference that you submit from either a public health specialist or a senior colleague or someone that you've been contracted to do work for. That would be in place of the actual appraisal document that we would accept for the appraisal requirement of the application process. So that's the appraisal requirement. The PDP requirement is very similar. It's a recent PDP that was previously required, also to be countersigned by a UKPHR registered specialist or GMC or GDC. That's also now changed. So similarly to the appraisal requirement, it is now just the work-based PDP that's completed within 12 months, and it's signed off by a line manager or a head of department or head of service. So that's something that if you are employed by an organization, you would then submit that to us, and there isn't any obligation or requirement for you to get that signed off by a registered specialist. As long as it's signed off by a line manager or head of department, then that's all satisfactory from our side. And then similarly, if you are self-employed or you're working at freelance level, you'd be required to submit a reflective piece outlining your PDP. And this could be following any discussion with your commissioners or co-providers of services and service users. So as long as you're able to submit that reflective piece outlining your PDP objectives, we will accept that for your PDP as evidence for your re-registration as well.
Sarah, there's a few questions here. Is it okay? Would you like me to plug them in over to you now, or would you rather wait till the end of the session?
Yeah, if they're related to, I can
They're
answer
related
them.
to what you've just spoken about.
Okay, no problem.
Somebody's asking, what is a work-based appraisal?
Okay, so a work-based appraisal is an appraisal that you would have with your organization. So if you're employed by a specific organization, you'd have an appraisal of some sort in place with them. And I'm aware that their appraisals do look quite different depending on which organization you're employed by. So it can either be like a personal development review. We've received quite a few of them with re-registration applications, or an appraisal document. It really we don't specify in terms of what type of appraisal it needs to be, because we understand that they do vary across different organizations. So as long as it is an appraisal that is completed by your organization, then we will accept any type of work-based appraisal. So hopefully that helps answer that question. Any other questions?
Thank you. There was one. There was a few more. Yes, PDP. Is it a part of your appraisal? What if it is?
Yeah. So so most of the times, the PDP is included as part of the appraisal document. So we're going to go a little bit later on in the session. We'll show you the video of the online application process. So when it comes to submitting that and documenting that, you can either submit that as a separate document if it is a separate PDP document, or if it's included as part of your appraisal, then that's completely fine as well. We'll accept that as part of your appraisal document, and then you would then declare that when you complete the application process with us as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, Zaira. There are a few more questions, but perhaps near the end of the session, we could do a bit of a summary over them.
Yeah,
Thank
that's fine.
you.
No
Thanks, Zaira.
problem. Thanks. Okay, so I'll just go back to yeah. So we've just discussed the appraisal and PDP requirements. The next requirement is the CPD evidence. So previously we required evidence of 5 years worth of CPD, and that can be your CPD certificates from the Faculty of Public Health. We know quite a few practitioners do complete their CPD with them, and we would accept the certificate of return as well from them for satisfactory CPD completion, or your own records. So that was what was previously required for re-registration. In terms of what we require now, so it is quite similar, but in terms of the main change is just the number of pieces of evidence per financial year that has changed quite a little bit. So in terms of what we require now, it is actually a minimum of 2 reflective notes, with a preference to completing 3 to 6 per financial year. So as long as you've submitted at least 2 reflective notes per financial year, that would bring you to a total of around 10 reflective notes across the 5-year registration cycle. And if you've completed more than 2, 3 or 4, up to 6 per financial year, that's even better. But as long as you've fulfilled the minimum requirement, which is the 2 reflective notes, that will be acceptable and satisfactory for the purposes of re-registration as well. If you're part of a formal scheme, so we are aware that many practitioners complete their CPD with different CPD schemes, or they're registered with different regulatory bodies as well, that where they complete their CPD, who they complete their CPD with. So if you're part of a different formal scheme, you can upload the relevant evidence of your completion with them, with the approved scheme, and we'll also accept that as well. And this also includes CPD return certificates by the Faculty of Public Health. So if you are still engaging in CPD with them, we will still accept that CPD return certificate from them as well. And then in terms of the indemnity arrangements and the fitness to practice declaration, these 2 requirements are self-declaration, and the indemnity arrangements I'll just go over very quickly. So it is a self-declaration, and it's just to confirm that you have your indemnity arrangements in place. And this could be if you're employed by an organization. Usually your employer will have appropriate indemnity in place to cover your practice, or if you are self-employed or freelance, then it is expected that you do have that that appropriate cover in place to cover your practice as well. So this requirement hasn't changed. It is the same as what it was before. It is the self-declaration, and you don't need to provide any evidence for that as well. And then similarly for the fitness to practice declaration, it is the declaration set of questions or statements rather that you'd complete previously, and this hasn't changed as well. So this looks very similar to the annual renewal fitness to practice declaration that you will have completed back in July. So it is very similar to that, and there isn't any changes to that specific section of the application as well. So now that we've spoken more about, so we've spoken about the requirements, I'm just going to touch a little bit more on the CPD evidence, because we do get quite a few questions from practitioners about in terms of what evidence is required, you know, if there's any supplementary information that you need to provide. So I'll just go into a bit more detail about that. So as mentioned, practitioners, you would need to submit a minimum of 2 with a preference to completing around 3 to 6 reflective notes each financial year. And each reflective note should be linked to 1 or more PDP objectives. So as long as your reflective note that you're completing is linked to one or more of your PDP objectives, that's completely fine. And there isn't any requirement, no longer requirement to record CPD points. So practitioners on the call, those who were registered quite a few years ago with us will remember that the requirements for practitioner CPD were the 15 hours per financial year, and it would be 75 hours formatted in a log format. But that's not required anymore now, so you won't need to produce any form of log or anything like that. It is just the reflective notes, a minimum of 2 per financial year. But if you do complete more than 2, that's also fine as well. And as long as it's linked to 1 or more PDP objectives, that will satisfy the requirement as well. And this guidance is actually in line with the Faculty of Public Health CPD guidance. So we do adopt their CPD guidance and their requirements for what you need to submit for your re-registration with us as well.
Sorry, Zara, can I also say, because there's lots of questions around this, what is the actual benefit of completing more than 2 CPDs then?
So I mean, it's more for yourself, really. I mean, to be honest, in terms of like reflecting on different CPD activities that you've undertaken, the reason why we've set the minimum as 2 is just to make it easier for practitioners to complete their re-registration with us. But if you feel like you want to submit more than 2, then that's completely fine. You know, it'll still be satisfactory, but we've just set that minimum kind of threshold just to make it easier and less burdensome for practitioners when it comes to submitting their application to us in 5 years' time, because we are aware that when it comes to the 5-year re-registration, you know, as long as you've been completing those minimum of 2 per financial year, then it'll be easier for you to then kind of just upload all those reflective notes at the time of re-registration. But if you've completed more, I mean, that's great. It will help you in terms of your reflections on your CPD activities. So yeah, hopefully that
Thank you.
helps. No problem. Thank you. Yeah, so in terms of the evidence that we require, so as mentioned previously, it can either be the Faculty of Public Health certificates, it can be your CPD reflective notes per financial year, or it can be any CPD certificates that you've received from other approved schemes. If you've completed CPD with them, we will also accept that as well. In terms of any supporting evidence, so we do get quite a few queries where practitioners ask whether they need to submit any supplementary evidence. So this can include things like presentations, course outlines, you know, certificates of attendance. We don't require that as part of the CPD requirements. It is just the reflective notes. So you won't need to worry about submitting any further information in addition to the reflective notes. As long as you've completed your minimum amount of reflective notes for your re-registration, that will be completely fine and satisfactory as well for the application process. And then, yeah, as mentioned, if you're participating in a Faculty of Public Health approved CPD scheme, then as long as you're providing that relevant evidence of CPD completion, such as the certificates that you receive from them, that is also fine as well. We have also got a template, a reflective note template that is available on our website. So this template also includes the 4 key questions in line with the Faculty of Public Health CPD guidance. So if you find that you would like to use this template, it is readily available on our website, and you can use that and download it and complete your reflective notes, and then submit that to us as part of your application as well. Okay, let's go to the next slide.
Sarah, is it okay if I ask a few more questions, please?
Yeah,
somebody said, can certificates be used instead of reflective notes?
So it depends if the certificate is part of an approved CPD scheme. So for instance, if you're completing CPD with the NMC or the GPHC or CIEH, then we will accept that evidence of completion uh, in place of the reflective notes. But in terms of the certificates of attendance, they're just a little bit different. So they would be classed as supplementary information. So if it is just a reflective note, if it is just a certificate of attendance, sorry, we would ask you to provide the reflective note for that specific activity rather than the certificate of attendance. But if you've completed a CPD with a relevant approved CPD scheme or the Faculty of Public Health and you've got a certificate from them, then you can submit that evidence in place of the reflective note as well.
Thank you. And also, do you have to use the template for the reflective notes?
No, so you don't have to use the template. It is just there just to help you as a guide if you need it. You don't have to, but as long as your reflective note references the four key questions that are outlined in the Faculty of Public Health's guidance, then that would be best. There is a bit more information on our CPD requirements for practitioners as well, and there's also a link to the Faculty of Public Health's page on CPD on our website as well. So if you do need any further information, you know, on what exactly is required in the reflective note or what key questions you need to answer, you can go onto their page, or you can just refer to the key questions that is located in the reflective note template, and it doesn't have to be that specific template. You can also use your own as well.
Thank you.
Problem. Okay, so I've spoken a bit about the CPD evidence, and I thought I'd just provide a CPD example if you're due for re-registration soon. So this is just an example of someone who is due for re-registration in June 2026. In terms of what evidence they would provide, it would look very much like this. So from June 2021 to the end of March 2022, so for that specific financial year, you wouldn't be required to provide any evidence of CPD, and this was due to it being suspended because of the COVID pandemic. So for that specific financial year, you wouldn't be required to submit any evidence. And then for the following financial years, from 22 to 23, 23, 24, so on, it is the minimum of the 2 reflective notes up until you're due for re-registration with us. So yeah, so as long as you are able to provide the relevant minimum 2 reflective notes for each of the financial years, excluding any years that were suspended, then that will be satisfactory for your application as well. So yes, so now, so I've spoken about the re-registration requirements in some detail. The next bit of the session is just to really talk about the forms of support that are available for practitioners. If, for instance, you're not able to complete a certain requirement, or you need a bit of extra time, you know, to complete the application with us. So it could be for various reasons that a practitioner might need a deferral, for instance, you know, if they're not able to meet their deadline due to extenuating circumstances. We do ask that, you know, should this be the case, that we are notified as soon as possible, so that, you know, you can, so to account for the extenuating circumstances, and you can do this by submitting an online application. It's called the deferral request, and it's available in your registrant portal via the applications tab. So once you've submitted that deferral request to us, it gets sent to the office, and then once it's been considered and if it's approved, we will then defer your due date for re-registration for an agreed period of time. So depending on your circumstances, this will then get deferred, and then you'll then be due for re-registration by the deferred due date, not the original one. However, if the application is unsuccessful, which I don't think happens quite doesn't happen very much here, but if it is, then your original re-registration date will still remain the same. So you'll still be required to complete re-registration by the original date it was due. And you can also submit several deferral applications as well. So for instance, if you've submitted a deferral application and you needed 2 weeks of extra time, and you feel that you need a bit more extra time, you can then just go into your portal, submit another application to us, and this will then be considered by the office. And if it is approved, it will then get further deferred, and you'll get an email notification about that as well. There is also a link to the deferral policy on our website, so this is available for you to have a read over if you need it, and this will also be included in the presentation slides as well when we circulate this as well. So that's the deferral policy. Next one is the exemption policy, and this mainly relates to those who, this policy is really in place for registrants who are unable to complete a specific requirement, and it could be for various reasons, could be for parental leave, sick leave, career break. If they're unable to complete a certain requirement and they require an exemption, then you can submit that to us. And this is also very similar to the deferral process via the online application in your portal. So you'd complete the exemption request, and you'd have to complete it for each re-registration requirement as well, and for each financial year. So it won't be a blanket exemption. You know, for example, if you're not able to complete CPD, as you may be on maternity leave or parental leave or sick leave, then you can submit that exemption request specifying which financial year it is that you are requesting the exemption for, and for which requirement as well, which would be the CPD, to be exempt. And then once that's been considered and if it's approved, we will then formally account that in your records. So when it does come to your re-registration and you submit that application to us, and there is 1 year that is missing, we can then look back in your records and note that you did have that exemption in place when we go to review your application for re-registration as well. And I'd also like to mention that if it is unsuccessful, then your original re-registration date will still remain the same and the requirements will still remain the same as well. So you'll still be required to complete whichever requirement that you were requesting the exemption for. You'll still need to complete that for your re-registration if the application is unsuccessful. And there is also a link to our UKPHR exemption policy, which is also available on our website for you to refer to as well. Okay, so yeah, so that's the forms of support that are available for practitioners, registrants as well. And now I'm just going to go on to talk a little bit, we'll go through the online re-registration process, and just to show you what the application will look like when you go to submit via your registrant portal, so that you've got a good idea of what to expect when it comes to submitting that to us. And completing that as well. So I'll just, hopefully this video will work. Okay, there we go. Yep, so this is your registrant portal. Just go on and click proceed. These are the requirements in detail. This is the overview page when you come into your re-registration application. For some reason it stopped. Lisa, is it working for you?
I can see everything you're sharing.
Okay, for some reason the video has stopped. Okay, I'm just going to see if I can go back and then come back on it again. Okay. Okay. Play. Okay. Yep. So the list of requirements. For some reason it's not playing. Don't know what's going on.
It's playing over here, Zyra. We can
Is
see
it
it.
is it
Yes.
continuing? Okay, because
Yeah,
it
yeah. The
seems to be
mouse is
stopping for
moving. Yeah.
me. Okay, that's fine. Perfect. Do you know which section it's? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is the overview page of the re-registration application. So it's just the introduction, I suppose, when you start off your re-registration application with us. And then, Anise, has it gone on to the, because I think it's not syncing with mine, what I can see at the moment. Do you know which section of the video it's gone to?
If it helps, it's at 54 seconds into the video.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because there isn't unfortunately any voice recording over it, but hopefully the video will help to explain what is included in the application and each of the sections as well. So you'll note that when it goes through each of the sections, unfortunately it can't dip in and out of each section. It's just the way the application has been designed. So it is the way it's ordered. That's the way the application has been designed. It would be the appraisal evidence, the PDP evidence, the CPD evidence as shown in the video, and then it will be the indemnity arrangements and then the fitness to practice declaration as well. So hopefully I will have provided, Anissa, do you think, is it synced a bit more to the video? Is it gone to the end of this application process?
We're halfway through the video. There's still a minute and a half to go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So for some reason it's not working on my side, but it's technology for you, unfortunately. um,
We're up to
yes,
indemnity arrangements.
perfect. Thank you.
Somebody just wants to say as well, is it 6 months before the deadline that re-registration opens?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So as soon as so it'll be 6 months in advance of your re-registration due date. That's when it's you'll be assigned the application, and that's when the first 6 month notice gets sent to you as well. So yeah, so hopefully you'll see towards the end of the video where you'll get a chance to review your answers as well before submitting them to the before submitting your application to us. And then you'll notice at the end where it says the application history, you'll see the status of your application that it's gone into review, which means that it's gone to the office and then for them to do their relevant checks and then yeah. Once it's been checked, and if there is any information that we need, we will then get back to you via email as well. So yeah, guessing the video is probably finished.
It's coming to the end now, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
That's all done now, Zyra.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so hopefully you all found that video helpful and useful in terms of a quick glance into what the re-registration application will look like when you go to submit it to your to us and when you go to complete it as well. So yep. So that brings us to the end of the presentation, and we did have a couple of questions that were sent in via our Q&A that was circulated before the webinar. So I'm just going to go over these questions quite quickly just to help answer them. So the first question is, what is required for the CPD reflective notes and which years are omitted? Also, where would these be uploaded? So for the CPD reflective notes, the requirement is the minimum of 2 reflective notes with no requirement for the supplementary information, or if you are engaging in a CPD scheme that's approved by the Faculty of Public Health, then we will accept their relevant evidence of completion, which is their certificates. So either CPT reflective notes or relevant evidence, which is certificate of completion, we will accept. And in terms of the years that are omitted, so this would be the years 20 to 21 and 21 to 22 financial years. And the reason being is because of the COVID pandemic. So those 2 specific financial years, CPD, excuse me, CPD was suspended due to the COVID pandemic. So it wasn't required for you to complete and submit CPD for us. So you can miss those years when you complete your application with us. Excuse me. Yeah, and also where would these be uploaded? So as you've seen in the video as well, you'd upload them in the CPD section of the application. So depending on which option you pick, so if you pick your own reflective notes or if you pick CPD certificates, there is a drag and drop box where you just then upload your relevant evidence and click next on to the next section as well. So it'll all be in the online application where you'd upload these to us as well. So the second question is, my re-registration is due in January 2027. Would you recommend starting this early? Yes, I would definitely recommend starting this early. Just from previous experience, you know, some practitioners can submit the application quite close to the deadline, but it can get quite difficult in terms of allowing you and ourselves extra time. If there is anything that we need or any further information, I would ideally recommend submitting it at least a month in advance. A month to 2 weeks in advance, just so that we've got enough time to receive the application, go through the checks, and if there's anything that we need, we can get back to you. And there's also that window of time that you have as well to address the clarifications and then get back to us without it getting too close to the deadline. So I would always recommend to submit it early, just so that you've got that bit of extra time and, you know, you can submit it to us in good time as well. The third question is, do we need full details of CPD for each of the 5 years, including reflections? So as we've already mentioned, you won't need the full details of your CPD. So this will be the supplementary information, the certificates of complete, like attendance or presentations or course outlines. We won't need that. It would just be the reflective notes for each of the 5 financial years before your re-registration is due. And then the fourth question that we received was actually a link that someone copied and pasted, mentioning that none of the CPD links work on this page. So unfortunately, this is a website that we don't own this website. We have had a couple of queries come through about this website. We've tried to get it removed, but unfortunately it is owned by someone else. So they have ownership of this domain, and we're not able to get it removed. So please do not go on this website. This isn't our official website, and it's not regularly updated as well. Our website is ukphr.org, and that's where you'll find all the information available and relevant CPD links as well, and other sources of information as well on that website. So yeah, please don't use this website. But yeah, so those are the questions that we received. Anissa, was there any questions that are coming through? I can see the chat's been very busy.
Zaira, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody for being so active and engaged and asking such amazing questions. Zaira, there's just too many to go through. I have whittled a few down, but is it okay if we can make sure we get all the questions that everybody has asked answered sometime, maybe an email sent through or something on the website so people can access those questions? Because it would be really nice to try and answer everybody.
No,
Definitely the busiest chat.
No, definitely. What we'll do is we'll because I know that quite a few questions, they're quite similar as well, so we'll try and group them, and we'll produce some form of document, like an FAQs document, just to help answer your questions and any queries that are coming through the chat. But yes, like Anissa's mentioned, thank you very much for engaging in the chat and popping in your questions. It's really helpful, and yeah, we'll definitely get those addressed in some form of like a FAQs document after this session as well.
Great. Is there time now for a few questions at all, or have we run over?
I think we have probably run over a little bit. So we're just on time, but yeah, like I said, we'll definitely include those questions in an FAQ document. But yeah, thank you, Anissa, for just keeping an eye on the chat for me.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. And yeah, I think that brings us to the end of this session. So yeah, like if you have any queries or questions at any time, you're very welcome to contact us. Hopefully this webinar has been helpful in terms of understanding the re-registration process and the requirements in detail, what evidence you need to submit, and also what the application would look like as well when you come to submit it to us. So thank you very much, and I'll pass you over to my colleague Anisa, who's just going to mention about the practitioner conference that's coming up in November. So over to you, Anisa.
Yeah, I promise I'll be quick. So before we close, I just wanted to highlight the exciting upcoming event, the UKPHR Practitioner Conference and Awards. It's taking place online this year, and it's on Tuesday, the 4th of November. The year's theme is Modernising Public Health Systems, Careers and Innovation. And it's a really nice opportunity for public health practitioners to come together and learn from best practice across the UK. We'll also be celebrating the awards as well, and the day offers plenty of opportunities to network and CPD as well. The full programme is available online and the registration is now over. I'll pop those links in the chat too, but I really encourage you to try and sign up as soon as you can so you can secure your place. But thank you, and we hope to see you all there.
That's great. Thank you, Anisa. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully this session has been helpful. And as mentioned, if you have any questions or queries, do drop us an email at register@ukphr.org, and we'll be more than happy to help you with your queries. But yeah, we'll let you guys carry on for the rest of your day and hope you all have a good afternoon. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.